Welcome to the Scout Starter Deck Tech for Battle. Included in this deck is a character card called Knave, a resource counter, 12 resource cards named Focus, 6 equipment cards, and 42 other cards for a total of 60 cards. The Scout's class ability is called Burst, and for 4 focus, you can take an additional action on your turn. Hit is included 4 times in the deck, as is the card Heal. Moving on, we have a new card called Owl. Owl is a creature card that costs 2 focus and can be played on an unoccupied adjacent square. Owl itself has 1 HP, 1 attack, and 1 movement speed. Owl has 2 actions you can be used at any time during your turn. Wallop also makes another appearance in this deck, and there are 4 copies in the deck. Now we have a card called Wisps. It is a basic card that forces your opponent to discard a card at random. There are 4 copies in the deck. 4 copies of Sprint also make their way into the deck. Now we have a combo card that costs 1 focus called Flame. Flame turns 3 straight squares into an area that if any cards are in that line, they each take a damage that includes any creature cards until the start of your next turn. If any card is still in the affected squares at the end of their respective turns, they take an additional damage. There are 4 copies in the deck. Also coming in at 4 copies is Bear. Like Owl, Bear is a creature card that gets placed into an unoccupied adjacent square. Bear has 2 HP, 2 attack, and 1 movement speed. Bear has 1 action and costs 2 focus to play. The next card included is called Net. There are 4 copies, and it's a combo card that gives adjacent target -1 movement speed until the start of your next turn. Execution is a combo card that costs 2 focus, is included 4 times in the deck, and directly does 2 damage to any target. The last Scout card is called Thorns. This is included twice in the deck and costs 2 focus. It grants the user +1 defense and returns half of the damage rounded up until the start of the user's next turn. The minimum return damage is 1. Moving on to the equipment cards, the first one is Leather, and it takes up an armor slot to give you +1 defense while equipped. Taking up a weapon slot is Sword. It gives you +1 attack when equipped. Dagger is in the armor slot, and it also gives you +1 attack while equipped. Boots appears in this deck as well, and it takes up the armor slot, granting you +1 movement speed when equipped. You will also find Sling included. It takes up the weapon slot and gives you +1 range while equipped. And finally, there's Bow. This card takes up both slots but grants you +2 range while equipped. This brings us to the tips, strategies, and combos portion of the video. Scout is one of the best decks to play the search game, and for a couple of reasons. The first, being able to play creatures takes up additional searching area and can quickly reveal cards at a higher rate. Remember, your creatures can perform searching as their actions. While there are exceptions, like if a token is created for instance, and we'll cover that in a later video, no more than 1 copy of any creature that you control can be played at the same time. It is possible to have 1 bear and 1 owl in play at the same time, but a second bear or owl can't be played until the respective card is discarded from play. Playing Flame is a great way to create a barrier between you and your opponent or opposing creatures in addition to just doing damage. If you're playing the search game, this card can buy you time while you and your creatures are searching the area for treasures. While Scout is one of the stronger starter decks, it does have a weakness. Using creatures to put pressure on your opponent can be tricky if they are currently using defensive boosts like block or other equipment. Rarely do creatures have ways to get larger attacks, although it is not impossible. Not being able to do more damage than the opponent's defenses relegates them to a search strategy. Same goes for you as a player. You will need to go over the top of plates and shields, using cards like Hit, Wallop, and your equipment cards like Sword and Dagger. If you're playing a mirror match, or against other heavy creature-based decks, Execution is a great way to clear the pathway of other creatures, but can also be used to directly hit your opponent, especially when their normal attack defenses are beefed up. Scout is also good at playing the distance game. Including Bow maximizes board potential, as you can hit from almost anywhere in a 1v1 kind of game. If you're playing the search game, you'll probably not be very aggressive offensively, so being able to ping from a distance while still sticking to your game plan is a good strategy to use while playing Scout. And finally, Wisps is a card that can also eat away at your opponent's hands, giving you another element of control while not having to be aggressive early on, but can also be used to wipe out key cards when you are positioning to strike. This concludes the Scout Starter Deck. We hope you enjoyed the video and give a like and subscribe. You can check us out at www.battle.cards and give us a follow on Instagram at BattleCards. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video covering the Thief deck.